Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. As-Suffah Academy parents. So talking about reading logs right now, which is part of our homework system now through all of elementary school. Might do it with some students in middle school, but they have kind of more differentiated stuff for their homework. But all As-Suffah Academy elementary students will be doing reading logs every day, which means they will be assigned to read at least 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes a day at home, outside of school, including the weekends, and and that has to be verified by their parents. This is some of you probably have experiences with this in other schools. This is a common practice in American schools that really depends on a strong school-parent partnership of everyone being on the same page. So consistent reading, daily reading, is well known to help children excel in their reading ability. And that is why schools do that, and that's certainly why we will be doing that. Now, I've had it set up so that we can do this entirely digital. So you have most likely already received an email from the office that has a link to your child or children's particular reading form. Each student has a specific form that is only shared with the parent emails that we have on file as a school. So only the parents are shared as responders on it. So you have to be logged into whatever email we have on file for you in order to access the form is what that means, in order to fill it out. If you want someone else to have access to it, such as an older brother or cousin or whatever, you have to send a request to Irfan, the office manager, and give him that email address that you want it shared with. That's the only way to do this, but really it's best that parents do this. They'll understand that you might need someone else to help you with it, okay? First, how to fill out the form, then some points on this to help you do reading with your child or have them reading successfully every day. So it's very straightforward. You first fill in the date of the reading, the name of whatever they read, and if there are pages that they read, just answer that as best you can. The most important part, though, is the date and then the amount of minutes that they read, and you choose somewhere from 0 to 30 in increments of 5. So if they read 17, put whatever's closest. If they read 17 minutes, put 15. If they read 23, put 25, etc. It does not have to be exact, but your child will have a weekly grade. How much that grade weighs into their overall English language arts grade in their class, I'm leaving up to the discretion of the teachers, but they will have an overall grade based on how many minutes they read. And that will be based on this data. Now, on that, why can you only put it in? Do you have to choose from one of these? It's so that we have consistent numbers in the spreadsheet that these forms link to, because that is what will add the numbers up. So if we have anything that is not numerical put in, then that all gets messed up, okay? Now, first things on this. Number one, do this with fidelity, meaning be sure to do this honestly, and I'm sure all of you, I don't have many concerns that the parents of our children will not do that. However, I've been in education long enough, many of our teachers, we've all had the experience of parents doing this, but not doing it honestly, okay? This does affect your kid's grade. We want the pressure of them having a grade attached to it to do this. So it's something that we all use to pressure the kids to read. At the same time, understand that your child's little portion of their language arts grade in elementary school is not worth being dishonest about this. Why? Well, number one, it's just not good to model dishonesty for your children ever. Certainly in stuff that relates to responsibilities and work, it sends a completely wrong message with that. That's thing number one. Thing number two, we will use this data to respond to it and adjust our instruction and our treatment of students and our recommendations to you accordingly. So if we did the MAP test in September and we do it again in December, and I have the student who has it logged every day that he or she was reading 30 minutes a day, but the MAP scores don't reflect what you would predict a student who's reading that much every day to do, then I have to ask as a teacher or as the instructional supervisor, well, what's going on here? Is there an issue with this student or this type of stuff? And we don't want incorrect information with that. And that is the most important thing of this. So please make sure you do it honestly. Now, if you miss a day, Okay, let's say my kid misses reading on Tuesday, and now it's Thursday, so I want him or her to read 60 minutes so they can make up for each day. The way you do that on the form, you fill out the form once for each day that they are reading for, which means if I'm reading 30 minutes that day for Thursday, the day that it is, I do this once and select Thursday, and I put 30 minutes. Then I submit it. But if he read 60 minutes that day because the other 30 minutes are to make up for Tuesday, which he missed, then I fill out the form, and on the date, I select Tuesday, even if that's 2 days past or however many days past, and you won't be making anything up within the week because they're graded each week. Then I select 30 minutes for that day. That is part of why it is the choices here are limited to 30 minutes and why they can't do 30 minutes, okay? That is how you do that, all right? Now, some concerns, questions I might have. First of all, I know that many parents do want this, which is great. Again, it's a tool that we can all use to nurture good reading habits and studious habits in our students and children. I know, okay, we have after school, the kids are going to Dukesy, they're going, I know that schedules are busy. I understand that. And this might be another thing to fill in for some of you, but it is something you need to do. And the kid will without a doubt do it best if you have, as a parent, have set a specific, consistent time each day where they will do this reading, and even a consistent spot in your home where he or she will do it. And I recommend that it is in a common area in the house where the child can be seen reading. If you are doing it where the child is locked away in their room and you are turning your back during it, that will not work best, okay? Because that doesn't necessarily set up the kids for success, even a very responsible student, and it tempts them to be dishonest about it, which we don't want. We want to set them up for success. I certainly recommend that you read with them. If they're younger, you can literally read with them, okay? First graders, kindergarten, no problem if they are on your lap and you're reading to them. Even older than that, while they're reading a book in the living room, you can be reading a book as well and doing something quiet. If you have to be doing something else, you have to be doing chores in the house or whatever while they're doing it, that's fine, but keep the room quiet so that they can do it and make the siblings be quiet. It's just a good time to have a block of the day scheduled where it's a quiet time in the home, structured that way, and doing something to nurture our minds, okay? That's what will set up your child for success best with this, okay? Now, Brother Michael, my child does not like to read. He struggles reading. How can I find stuff that he's going to be able to read? Now, as far as what they should read, first of all, if the teacher assigns something that they should read for this time, they will make that known to the kids, and then they should read that, okay? If the teacher does not give them something specific, then yes, it is up to the family to provide something for that child to read. Best way to do this, number one, don't do something on screens, okay? I have a video on my YouTube channel, maybe we will link to it, that I did years ago, that shows how there have been comparative studies. How is reading done better, on a screen or on physical text? This has been studied since going back to the early 80s, late 1970s, and only more and more as time has gone on, and it consistently shows that people read better, learn to read better, get comprehension skills better, and comprehend reading better when it is done on physical text and not on screens. Even if they like doing it on a screen more, and even if they think they do better on a screen more, if you give them something to read and do an objective measurement of their comprehension of it, it actually almost always comes back better on the physical text. So you all know, if you don't know, the most in-demand private schools in Silicon Valley, where all the tech companies are located, and increasingly now in Austin, Texas, where more of them are moving there, where the tech executives in these big tech companies send their children. They are paper only. They are not screen, because they know about this, okay? Even if they want every kid in every school in America to be using a Chromebook or an iPad all the time. And this is part of why we don't do screens at As-Suffah Academy, except for very, very controlled things, okay? So that's thing number one, nothing on screen. Now, Brother Michael, how do I get a hold of texts on a consistent basis that he can read? How do I get books? Okay, I know many of you know this and do this, but the public library system, every county in the state of Minnesota has a very, very healthy, well put together public library system. Look up your local library. You can go there. If you do not have a card or an account, get one. It's free. You can rent multiple books every week, turn them back in time, and have no shortage of text to get. What books should I get for my child? If your kid struggles to pick out books, or actually, even if they like picking out books, partner with the local librarian there. Ask them for help and resources. And the reason I have this sample map test score up, which I showed you guys in a previous video, for the reading test, you have the big score up here. If you look in the lower left, there is something called their Lexile range, which will have a range of numbers with the letter L after it. So one thing the map does, a Lexile range, Lexile rating is something that measures the complexity of text based on its vocabulary usage and sentence structure and so on. And the map reading test measures a student's Lexile range. This is something you can use to give to that librarian or to use resources online to look up books that are in his or her Lexile range or maybe slightly above it if you have this worry about them not being able to read a book that you give them. Now, don't go to extremes in this, and actually for a long time in American education, schools did go to extremes in this and limiting kids to what they could read based on their Lexile range. You don't have to do that. If there's a book the kid is interested in, if there's a book on a topic that they have some background knowledge on, if there is a book that you have some background knowledge on the topic and you can help fill in for the kid, go ahead. Okay, don't worry about the Lexile range. That is fine. But if you have this worry about, mom, dad, I can't read that type of thing, you can use the Lexile range. There are portals online you can go to look up any book's Lexile range. We can put this link in the description, but hub.lexile.com/find-a book will take you to this search engine where you can put in the name for any book and it will give you the Lexile range. And then you can look on your kid's test scores and see if it matches with that or if it's in the range or if it's near it. Doesn't have to be exact, okay? And again, the librarians will know how to look up the Lexile ranges. I know Washington County Public Libraries has the Lexile range of all the books they have indexed. I would imagine Anoka is probably similar, and Hennepin, Dakota as well, wherever you guys are living. And I know it's a variety of places. So take advantage of that, okay? Some other tips when your child is reading. Again, the quiet space, quiet place for a 30-minute block. We're not making you do this. They don't have to write a summary or anything like that or answer any comprehension questions to prove that they read, but you help them by asking about what they read. But do that in a specific way, especially the more your kid struggles to read or doesn't like to read. Whereas, by what I mean by that, it's not best to have them read for 30 minutes and then say, tell me what you read about, okay? What's best is get them started on the reading, sit down with the book, they start. Then after 2 minutes, ask them, what have you read so far? Explain to me what you read so far. Then after 5 minutes, ask them, what did you read so far? Explain to me what you read so far. Then after 10 minutes, ask them again, and then at the end, ask them again. Do it in a more chunked way like that. Especially at the beginning, make sure that they understand and help them as best you can understand what is going on in whatever they are reading at the beginning, because that will set them up to be able to get the rest of it. Many kids, especially if they're struggling with reading or they don't like it, they will read the text, bring their eyes along it, but they won't be thinking about what it actually says. And it is better if a kid needs to reread that first page or that first paragraph or those first few sentences several times. And that takes 5, 10, 15 minutes of the reading, but that's what they need to do in order to get that. No problem. That is fine. That is more important, actually, than them going along and not understanding it because their mind won't really be paying attention to it. Okay? So those are things that you can do to help. I will be making another video that goes into more detail about the structure of how kids learn to read and the abilities that they need and how that sequences type of stuff, how we're using that with our curriculum resources, some new things we're getting and instructional decisions we're making, and also too how I want us to all work together as families Because and amongst us, I will be surveying families for this information, because I know some of you might not be confident in your own reading ability in the English language, and that limits your own confidence in helping your kid. We understand that. But some of you also are proficient readers in English, and I want to create some times where we come together and help one another with this. As far as reaching, we're making a mad reach for other types of resources with this, okay? Jazakumullahu khairan, barakallahu fikum. Email me any questions, brothers and sisters, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us and our children all the success that awaits us in this life and the next. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.